Hello once again, Mustang basketball fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Mustang Basketball with Brad Bigler. I'm your host, Kelly Loft, Athletic Communications Director at SMSU, and we're going to talk Mustang basketball again this week. A pair of road games this past weekend as the Mustangs beat Upper Iowa before losing to Winona State. And this week, the Mustangs have a couple of home games at the RA facility, hosting Wisconsin, La Crosse, and Sioux Falls. We'll talk about those games and much more here in the next half hour or so. We're joined by the head coach, Brad Bigler. And Coach, a difficult weekend on the road for the Mustangs. Anytime in conference, a very hard road trips and a very unique weekend because you play Upper Iowa on Friday, a team you're very familiar with, the coaching staff not only played for you but coached with you. Then you go to Winona State, a very good team as well, and always want to at least split on the road, so you got that out of it. Mustangs win 83-73 to over Upper Iowa, but then lose to Winona State. Coach, your thoughts about this weekend?
Going into the weekend, like you said, we're always trying to get the the one-on-one. That's kind of the goal of the weekend. Anytime you can get a sweep in the NSSC is a really tough thing to do, and it's a big accomplishment. And so our main focus really was Upper Iowa on Friday night going in. Really wanted to focus on starting off the weekend on a high note, finding a way to defend their actions. And I thought what you saw over the course of the weekend on Saturday, how tough it really is to win on the road. I thought coming out in that game, our guys looked like they had heavy legs. It was a little bit difficult for us to get out there and compete on the basketball on the defensive end and give Winona credit. They were able to knock down some shots early, get some momentum, and kind of cruise to a victory.
Yeah, again, the Mustangs beat Upper Iowa on Friday night 83-73, but then lose at Winona State 87-67. The Mustangs game much closer than that score would indicate. Winona ended the game on an 11-0 run, but Winona State 9-2 overall and 5-0 in the conference. They beat Minnesota State the week prior on the road, so playing very good basketball. And Coach, obviously, as you talked about with Upper Iowa, Brooks McCollum, the head coach for the Peacocks, runs a very similar style, and it was kind of one of those unique things where you're basically playing against the same system that you guys have, and their assistant coach, Matt Fletcher, who played for Southwest over his career, so very unique. But they're a team that went to the NCAA tournament and got some very talented players.
And they are. And Coach McCollum has put his little twist on it too. Definitely not exactly like us, but there's definitely some similarities as well. And just going out and being able to compete against those guys before the game, it was a lot of fun just to be able to talk with those guys, kind of go back and forth. We do miss those guys, and they were great Mustangs while they were here. And just to be able to go and compete, it was a fast-paced game up and down. Both teams had it going a little bit during stretches, and we were fortunate to have a nice little run there early in the second half to kind of extend the lead.
Yeah, actually, big key was that run in the second half. But even at the end of the first half, Mustangs trailed 27-20. You go on a 9-0 run, you take the lead, and built a 2-point lead at halftime. But really had it all going in that ball game against the Peacocks. You not only had a rebound advantage, but you shoot very well, over 70% in the second half. But knocked down some open three-pointers and only attempted 13, but you made 8 of them, which was a season high for the Mustangs at 61.5%. And that just changes the whole dynamic of the offense when you can knock down some of those three-pointers. And Bernard Birch was a great example how he took advantage of that in the second half.
And to add on to that, in conference play, so that's 5 games, we're shooting 47% from 3 in conference games only. And so that we do have the ability to shoot the 3. And what I like best about our shot selection on the 3 is just, again, it's in rhythm shots, it's catching off an action to the rim, so their feet are placed, and it's high percentage threes. And where you have the ability to knock it down, you have Sean Conn, Joey Bartlett, Matt Zager, Will Giddings. I mean, all those guys have the ability to knock down that 3. And then we're going to add Travis Miners here this weekend, and Cole Martin here will get back and healthy. So we have a lot of different guys who can step up and open the 3. And when they knock down that 3, that's a big factor because it opens up the offense. It opens up those driving lanes for Bernard Birch in company to be able to just get to the rim and score those paint points like we like.
Well, the Mustangs had 5 players, all 5 starters, score in double figures in the win over Upper Iowa. Leading the way, redshirt freshman Joey Bartlett, 17 points, hit 4 3-pointers. And you just continue to see Joey and Mitch Wegg, Drew Osmondson, redshirt freshmen getting their first taste of college basketball. It takes a while to get into the rhythm and to play at that level, but through 10 games, they're doing a very good job, and obviously two of the players have started, and Joey had a big game on Friday.
And it's nice to see Joey's been putting a lot of hard work outside of practice, getting some extra shots up, and just his confidence level right now has been different. And I think just our whole team in general, our ability to step up and knock down shots has been different. Got a good confidence right now, have a good rhythm. Now against Winona, they took away some of those actions, some of those paint actions away from us, those easy scoring opportunities. We missed some layups and some free throws, just some things at different times. But against Upper Iowa, we were able to, in that second half, really have a good rhythm, create easy opportunities for teammates. And what I mean by that is just making the easy pass. Sometimes you drive, you draw your defenders, you do your job, kick it out, make the extra pass, and then knock down the open shots.
Yeah, an example of that, opening up the offense, Bernard Birch tied a career high with 8 assists in that game, had 3 steals and just 3 turnovers. And against that pressure that they're going to put on Upper Iowa full court, and when a team is trailing in that second half by double digits, they're going to try to do everything they can to get that ball back, and continually Bernard was able to get out of the backcourt, get it across the timeline, and just run the offense. And again, as you mentioned, he's able to make some shots too. 6 of 11 from the field, and that's one thing that he's really stepped up here in the past few weeks, is able to hit that 15, that mid-range jump shot.
And I would also add just his decision-making in the paint. I think Bernard early on in the year was maybe trying to take on a little bit more responsibility with the scoring, so he was trying to take some tougher shots. Where now when he gets in the paint, he's got great patience. He's rolling out. He's kind of, I call it the Steve Nash stuff, where he's dribbling out of some of those areas, and he's finding guys. You're going to see a clip here where he drives underneath the hoop, and Joey Bartlett cuts around and gets Joey Bartlett a layup. So I just think Bernard's decision-making and when to score, when to create easy opportunities for teammates, he's doing a great job, and especially in the second half when we get up, he has the ability to finish games, and that's nice to see.
And again, the Mustangs in that win over Upper Iowa, 17 team assists, which is a season high on 31 baskets. And that's, Coach, is a number that you look at quite a bit. Just you want to try to get to that 50% range or so, and that just shows you that you're, getting good looks to the basket, a lot of layups. Sometimes, it's a one-on-one game, you might not get a lot of assists, but that number of assist turnovers, I think it's some of the most important numbers in a ball game, to be able to win a contest, not only not to give that basketball up. But I look at a few times in that Friday night game, just critical possessions, 4 minutes to go, you're up by 8 or so. You give up the ball on a turnover, it could be just a 5-6 point swing just that quickly if you turn it over and they may hit a 3-pointer.
And that's something that was really affecting us early on in the year. I mean, early on in the year, that's why we were losing a lot of those games, is just our turnovers leading to easy buckets on the other end. But I agree with you. I mean, I think when you see a high assist ratio, there's a lot of things that come into play. It's an unselfish style of basketball. And the other thing is, again, you're just taking higher percentage shots. Obviously, someone's creating a shot for you, so you're going to have a bigger window to rise up, take your time, knock down shots. You're just going to be open a little bit better. So.
And the Mustangs in that ball game shoot 54% from the field, but an incredible number, 73% from the field in the second half. And that is the third time this season SMSU has shot 70% or higher in a half. And importantly, it's in the second half, which you've put games away and won the contest. But I mean, that's an incredible number to do it once or twice. But 3 times, we've also shot over 60% 4 different times in the second half. And that's at least the signs are pointing in the right direction. The guys are in the position to make it, and most of the time they're going to make those shots.
And that actually, add on to that, kind of what you just said, that's why the game against Winona, you have to remember, it's not always as good as it seems, it's not always as bad as it seems. And when we went back and watched the film, we had a lot of good looks. There was a stretch there where, kind of getting our head of ourselves, but that 8 to 2 minute mark, we missed 2 layups, 2 open 15-foot jumpers, 4 free throws. I mean, all shots that are capable of making all high percentage shots. And when you miss those type of percentage shots, the game can get away from you pretty quickly against good teams.
And we'll talk about the Winona State game here shortly, but let's take a look at the highlights between the Mustangs and the Peacocks from Fayette, Iowa on the 13th of December. And the Mustangs here in the gold uniforms going right to left. And we open up here early on. Again, the Mustangs 8 3-pointers. That's a tray by Matt Zager.
And a good drive here by Will Giddings. This year we've been trying to add a little bit more motion onto our offense, trying to keep teams a little bit off balance, not so predictable. Ball's going to get moved here. Bernard Birch, just a good finish, good strong take in the middle of the paint. And as you notice, the shot clock was winding down, so just him being able to make those plays at the end of the shot clock.
There's a and one for the Mustangs. As the Mustangs get back to within 1 point after that Zager shot and then was fouled. Continue on here, and here's the Mustangs. Bartlett setting the offense, and just patient here for the Mustangs. Shot clock down to 15, and Giddings open for the three.
And you saw right there, Bernard, just his ability to get in the paint, draw the defenders, and our guys have to be able to step up and knock down those open shots.
Mustangs shoot 43% in the opening half. Upper Iowa at 41%. Nick Smith in double figure scoring with the right-handed hook shot. He had 14 points, 8 rebounds.
I think we're seeing Nick having more of an emphasis of scoring when he gets the ball in the block. Early on, he was looking at so much to kick it out or to hit cutters that he was not necessarily taking advantage of his scoring opportunities. Here you see just a transition breakdown by Upper Iowa and Joey Bartlett knocking down an open three.
Bartlett in the first half, 9 points, 3 of 5 from the field. Again, the Mustangs trailed at 1 point, 27-20, but then answer back with a 9-0 run to take the lead.
Again, this just our patience in this game. I thought guys were seeing the floor, taking their time, making the right reads. And this clip right here, you're going to see Bernard Birch drawing the big man and Nick just rising up for an open 15-footer.
And I also saw their coach a lot of times where teams will double down on Nick and not forcing the pass. Bernard reversing the basketball and getting a good look, and Nick able to take advantage of it. Bartlett with the three, and this is where the Mustangs making their run here to regain the lead. Bartlett hits that three to give the Mustangs a 2-point deficit.
You're going to see just our patience again, being able to move the ball. Joey gets a shot fake and handles the contact, but takes it all the way in for a layup.
Nick Smith, the big first half at 12, was basically the Bartlett and Smith show here late in the first half. Here's Condon, bounce pass into Nick, drop step, gets the tough shot off the window with just over a minute left to give the Mustangs a 4-point lead. Now we go into the second half. Mustangs a 38-36 lead. Game was tied or down to a 1-point game in the first minute or so, and then a big run by SMSU.
And that starts by getting defensive stops. We were defending the three-point line better. We believe that we took them out of a few things. Maybe they missed on some opportunities, but definitely then off those defensive stops, we're able to get shots like this. Joey Bartlett with the open three from the corner, assist Bernard Birch. And then Joey's, again, that's just a confidence shot right there. When you make a few, you kind of have the reign to be able to step up and knock down a shot like that in transition.
And the Mustangs a steal. Here's Matt Zager. This is during the run. Mustangs go up 7 following that basket. And then the Mustangs extend the lead here following this defensive stand as Will Giddings will come down and drill a three-pointer, gets the board and comes back down and hits the tray.
And it might be one of those no, yes threes, but when you're on a roll, when you're on a roll, shots like that are going to fall.
After a timeout, Mustangs get a stop on the defense. Great end out. Sean Condon feeling it, and the Mustangs lead 54-41 after that basket. 16.5 left to go in the game.
A lot of time still left in the game. I think that was the thing coming into some of those timeouts, just talking with our guys that, hey, this isn't over. We need to continue to keep chipping away, continue to get defensive stops because as Upper Iowa showed the night, the following night, they had the ability to put up some points.
Well, the Mustangs' lead got cut to 8, but then you see a Birch layup and then Bartlett with the jumper, and then here's a dunk by Will Giddings here coming up shortly. The Mustangs are going up double digits again.
Again, just a great drive by Matt Zager, finding and cutting Will Giddings, and Will has the athleticism just kind of go up and throw that one down. Here you're going to see, again, our guys just ball movement, timing on our cuts. And right now, Drew Osmondson is going to come off the screening action, kind of take a seam and go in and finish his layup.
That gave the Mustangs a 14-point cushion. Lead got down to 11. Never dipped down below double digits the remainder of the game. You saw the Osmondson layup. He'll do it again here with a nice fake to the wing. Mustangs at the 10-minute mark leading by 13 points. And able just to stop every effort that the Peacocks had to get back into the game.
And here's Peacocks went to a zone. And I think we're not afraid when teams go to a zone against us. We just have to understand it's a different tempo. And there's that ability to get the ball in the paint. Still a lot of similar type actions for us, driving kicks. And here you see Matt Zager with a hard take, Will Giddings with a backdoor finish.
Giddings 15 points, 6 of 10 shooting, couple of threes, had 8 rebounds. Birch gets the basket and fouled. SMSU 13 of 20 from the charity stripe in the victory. Had 8 steals, 17 assists. And this is what we're talking about, shot clock winding down, and whew, tough hit. Birch drills it. He had 13 in the game.
And that's where we need Bernard to be able to step up. You know, those end-of-game shot clocks, ball in the hand, make those good decisions. As you see here, finishing out the clips, Will Giddings with the nice dunk and transition.
Yeah, the Mustangs get the win, 83-73 over Upper Iowa. So the Mustangs with their 3rd straight victory, which is a season long, and moved to 3-1 in the conference. The next night, going up to Winona to take on the Warriors. And Winona State, as we mentioned, playing very good basketball. They beat Sioux Falls the night before by 25 points and been playing very well. And they've had the Mustangs number during the regular season over the past 10-plus years or so. Mustangs have not beaten Winona outside of the conference tournament since about 2002, and that's a credit, obviously, to their program coach. They've had a great run, but it just shows the guys that we've had a great schedule. We continue to talk about it. Saw on one website we have the 10th toughest schedule in the country, and you're going to be ready for these games, but it also shows you where the guys need to go to be one of the top teams in the conference, and that's what playing Winona State will do for you.
And that's what when we set up a schedule like that, it's not about buying wins. It's about seeing where you're at, and are you really going to be a part of the mix. And I truly believe with this year's team, their experience, some of the things that we can bring to the table with some size, some shooters, some athletes, I think we can be in the mix. But we still have our work ahead of us. Winona State is a team that's a very veteran team. Cameron Taylor's a guy who he can play at a high level. He's a guy that knocks down shots. He's a guy that creates the opportunities for his teammates. And Winona right now, they're playing so well together. That's what I noticed. Just sharing the basketball, they're moving the basketball, and they're taking in-rhythm shots at all times.
So yeah, the Mustangs again playing a very good team, losing to the Warriors 87-67. Don't have any highlights from the ball game, but leading the way for Southwest, one of 4 players in double figures, 15 points for Zager, 11 for Giddings and Birch, and Bartlett with 12 points as well for SMSU. But you shoot just 38%, and it just goes to show that we're going to have a balanced attack every game. One person scored 20 points all season in the game. That was Nick Smith, and I kind of like that. Just balanced attack, and you're going to have somebody different each game. Mitch Wegg might lead the team in scoring. Joey Bartlett one game, and it's tough to guard when you have that many options for your team.
And the part of that goes back to our offense and how it's spacing, how it's spread, how they're going to defend us. Who are they going to take away? And other opportunities for guys to step up. And yeah, we apologize for no video clips, but we have a new system. It's a Synergy, it's called, and it's a system that all the NBA teams use, and we just had a problem uploading it. Winona actually needs to upload it after the game, and we're a little bit slow in uploading it, so we just didn't have the clips this time. Yeah,
well, one thing to talk about, it's a good segue into that, is talking about that video system and how it's changed since you were a player watching it, and Coach Miles' office watching it on VCR tape and rewinding, but kind of talk about how that goes and how it works to get the highlights or get to game film that you can show the guys, because it is a pretty interesting system that you can get as much information that you want. And we talk about this on the football coaches show, and the film just does not lie. And it's a great opportunity to show your defensive positioning and your end outs and all that type of thing. Talk about how this works.
And it's amazing. It really is. When we say the NBA actually uses its exact same system. It's an online system. It tracks every statistical analysis that you want. How a guy scores the basketball, how they defend, from all the things that a team does. It tracks end outs, timeouts, what they do after timeouts, half court, transition, every rebound, every turnover. Anything you want to do, you upload it to this system, and within 24 hours it is clipped out. So it's almost like having another assistant coach. And for our guys and access to our guys, when we do video scouts now, just the ability to be efficient. And you can get a video scout done on personnel pretty quick, where you just click on Riley Bamenek from Winona. You just click on his made baskets, and you can get all his made baskets for the entire year in about 1 minute. And what you do is then you also take those clips. You can send them all if you want, but if you just want to pick a few, you can put them into a folder, and you can actually email that to our guys, and our guys have access to it. So the ability to get video on opponents in our conference especially, it's amazing now, and our guys have access to it, and it's just more efficient, and you guys can be more thorough in their evaluations of guys and their understanding of game plans.
Yeah, pretty incredible, and I'm sure they can watch it from wherever they're at too on their mobile devices and watch the film, and you can keep track of knowing who's watching and whatnot, I suppose.
And it also, we can do that, and I think it also, from our standpoint too, allows us to. That's the other thing that, when you have a shorter staff, sometimes you're worrying so much about the other team, you don't have the ability to break down your stuff as much too. And that's where this system allows us to really evaluate ourselves. We can go back, and if something's not working, we definitely have the film and the access to analyze it, to critique it, and then to correct it later on in the week. Yeah,
very interesting concept. And again, the Mustangs, following this past weekend, now 5-5 overall and 3-2 in the Northern Sun Conference. And as we mentioned, a couple of games this week at the RA facility. Thursday night, the Mustangs will step out of conference and take on the University of Wisconsin La Crosse, a 7 o'clock tip-off at the RA facility. La Crosse coming into the game with a record of 7-1. They're 3-0 in the Wisconsin Conference, and then the Mustangs will take on the University of Sioux Falls in the rematch from a game that the Mustangs lost in Sioux Falls in November in overtime. Get back into conference play, but Coach, it didn't matter who we play. It seemed like we're going to face a team that's got a good record, either Division I South Dakota State or Michigan Tech. Now we're facing a Division III team that's 7-1, and really going to bring a good test for you guys. And what do you look at this ball game on Thursday? Obviously, we want to win the game, but there's a lot of things to get ready for that game on Saturday. And you mentioned Travis Minders, who had to sit out per transfer rules in the NSIC. He'll be able to play on Thursday, and it'll be good to get him some minutes as well.
And when you looked at it, that was one of the reasons to be able to put this game here, is to get him a game before going into conference play. It's also just a game where it's finals this week. We have guys that are all battling the flu. There's just stress. There's a lot going on. They're logging a lot of hours studying, and so at that end of the week after the finals, it's just kind of nice to probably have a game where we can just kind of go out there, play hard, and a little less stress than a conference game. And that's our point of doing this, to be able to get Travis some minutes, to be able to just go out there, play a game, kind of shake off that rust from the week, the stress from the week, and then come back on Friday, reorganize, get focused for Sioux Falls, and then go out and execute a good game plan against Sioux Falls.
Now again, the Sioux Falls game, earlier start, 4 o'clock will be the start for the men's game against the Cougars, and unique scheduling with the conference. We'll be done with the Cougars before Christmas. Again, that will be a great challenge for the Mustangs. Sioux Falls beat SMSU, again, as we mentioned, in overtime in the conference opener. So a lot riding on this one, Coach, to defend that home court. You're 3-1 at home this season, and so important in conference play to keep winning at home, and that's a great challenge coming up on Saturday.
And going into the year, that was something that we wanted to take a lot more pride in. Last year we lost a lot of close ones at home, and hopefully we can continue our success at home. USF's going to bring some challenges. They're going to press us. They're going to try to keep us off balance. The first time around we had a high turnover ratio, and we got to find a way to bring that down and take care of the basketball and get high percentage shots.
Well, again, the Mustangs and Wisconsin lacrosse Thursday night, December the 19th, 7 o'clock at the RA facility, and then on Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock, tip-off against the Cougars from the University of Sioux Falls. That'll be the final games before the new year for the Mustangs. They get back at it January 3rd and 4th at home against Northern State and MSU Moorhead as they start play against the teams from the NSIC North Division. That's going to wrap up this week's episode of Mustang Basketball with Brad Bigler. For the head coach, I'm Kelly Loft. Thanks for watching this week's episode. Until next time, go Mustangs!